Hello, fellow brawlers. Been a while since I said that. Today we have some Brawl news. Brawl Stars very recently released their Time to Explain podcast, and we've got some things to cover. My goal is to shorten it down in this video to just 2 things. Number 1 is updates, things that we will be getting in the future or things we will not be getting in the future. And number 2 is hot topics that seem to need to be talked about because they're hot. Spicy. Now, the whole podcast was almost 3 hours. And if you have the time, honestly, I highly recommend watching the full podcast because they do a great job at talking about a lot of topics and answering a lot of questions that people very frequently ask. And they go way more into depth than I am going to be doing in this video here. Topic number 1, they talked about ranked. So ranked is not exactly where they want it to be. They want it to be very competitive on the high end so that the best players are able to compete against the best players. But surprisingly, they're actually really happy with the fact that there are more people playing ranked now than ever. Like, Power League just did not have the type of player interaction that ranked does. Now, they don't have specifics that they want to talk about right now with what they're going to do with ranked in the future, but they are planning on working on ranked, and it is something they are actively discussing right now and want to come up with a solution to make ranked even better. But one thing I'm sure you're going to be excited for is that they are planning to rework ladder. And by ladder, I mean the Trophy League. In fact, the next update will have a change to Trophy League. They want to make it easier for casual people to push trophies without getting stomped on as soon as they push a little bit into higher trophies, while also having something competitive at the end where people that are really skilled at the game can compete for high scores or something like that. It's something they're actively working on right now, and their goal is to help more people become competitive sooner, but they also want to make the progression in both ranked and Trophy League feel better for all types of players. Also, they don't really like right now how the current system makes it so that players with tons of trophies have to sit in matchmaking for 10 plus minutes for like a 90-second match. They didn't give us any specifics on how they are going to implement this, but Trophy League is something that has not been changed for a long time, and Brawl Stars has changed a lot since the last time they actually addressed Trophy League. Well, I guess they have like tweaked the trophy reset and stuff like that, and that has, I don't know, but they haven't done anything really big, really. Either way, I'm really excited to see how they make some changes because the old trophy system just isn't the best that it could be, in my opinion. Something else they did mention that they want to do a better job at is providing some way to celebrate the players who do reach super high ranks in each season. Whether it's a skin or something on your profile, they're not sure yet. They haven't made any decisions, or if they have made decisions, they didn't want to be public about it yet. But they do want to do some things to reward the most hardcore players, which is really awesome and exciting. Hopefully it gives a lot of you guys that watch this channel something to look forward to as well, because everybody knows that if you watch the Kairos channel, there's a pretty good chance you're a really skilled brawler. Okay, now let's talk about a very hot topic, okay? Limited events versus permanent features in Brawl Stars. I think a lot of people are aware of the fact that, like, hey, we just got a really awesome SpongeBob special event, but all the modifiers that we're getting in SpongeBob are just going away. The same thing that happened with Godzilla. Like, they spent a lot of time developing these really cool aspects of the game to change the way that every single brawler is played. And then as soon as the Godzilla event was over, all of that work was gone. Like, we don't get to experience that ever again, potentially. I mean, they might be able to do something, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying, right? Developing those types of things takes time to create, and that means that there is less time being spent on permanent features that are being added into the game. So they did a lot of discussion about that. And one thing they wanted to point out is that Godzilla was actually huge for the game. Even classic Brawl Stars was really big for the game, and SpongeBob has also been big for the game. Now, I'm going to throw up this graph right here that shows their daily active users over the past couple of years. Now, there aren't any numbers specified right there because they don't want to give those numbers out to competitors, but they are accurate to what is actually in the game. And as you can see here, temporary events have been huge in growing the game and helping maintain players. However, dedicating time to those temporary events means that they aren't able to add permanent features into the game, or not quite as many. If you're developing one, you can't develop the other, right? And in their words, it seems like they may have done a little bit too much temporary content, in their opinions. There are things that they want to do to make the game better. There are issues inside Brawl Stars that they want to address. And over the next year or so, they have plans to find a better balance between temporary events, which really hype the game, and making permanent improvements, which keeps players in the game. Another thing to note as well, they did mention that the team is actually larger now than it ever has been, and now they have people working on both temporary events and permanent additions to the game. So hopefully they're able to do a little bit more of both in the future. It's very clear that both are very important and they want to do a better job at bridging the gap between the two of them, because it seems like, you know, for a lot of us hardcore players, that we haven't really been receiving a whole lot. It seems like the people that are getting the most are casual players. And while that has been absolutely phenomenal for the game and we want to celebrate that, some of us long-term players are like, come on, just give me something new, you know? Now, they actually had Ready, Set, and Teddy on the podcast. Those are two esports casters. And so a fair bit of the discussion was actually about esports, which is really awesome and fantastic. I'm not going to cover everything they talked about, so if you're into esports, make sure you watch it. But one thing they did talk about was, hey, is there going to be more budget for esports in 2025? And the answer is yes. The fact that things have been so good for Brawl Stars in the past year means that they have bigger plans for next year when it comes to esports. However, they did want to mention the fact that it is a little bit more complex than that, and it does take time to apply things, especially for esports. This year has felt a bit more empty for Brawl Stars esports, especially because last year was a really rough year for Brawl Stars, and it was an even rougher year for gaming in general. But the Brawl Stars team is very passionate about esports, and honestly, from the sounds of it, it sounds like there were discussions, they didn't say this, but it sounds like there were discussions of, hey, is it even worth it for us to put anything into esports this year? And despite all of the data and all the people telling like, hey, esports is kind of a money sink, you should probably stop this, they actually kept it up because they're very passionate in esports and they want to continue to grow it as much as it makes sense, or at least they can justify doing so. Even though they did say that esports does not make Brawl Stars money, in fact, it loses them money, they would really like to get Brawl Stars esports to the point where it someday is able to pay for itself. And there's actually really good reason for that. Esports helps keep invested players in the game more invested, and they think that that has value, which I think so as well. Now, one thing they brought up is that in the past, about once a year, Frank comes onto Brawl Talk and does kind of like a roadmap for the future of Brawl Stars. Well, it's been a while since the last time that's happened, so where is it? They actually plan on doing that again. They said that it's going to be a little bit of a different format than Brawl Talk, but they did say, look forward to that sometime before the next Brawl Talk. So sometime in the next month, I will very likely be updating you guys on this channel as well. So subscribe for all your sweet Brawl news. One hot topic that got brought up is how many people started playing Brawl Stars in the last year. And I found this very interesting. More than 50% of the people who are playing today started playing for the first time in the past year, which is especially impressive because we're also seeing record numbers of players who are coming back to the game. So that means that the game has grown just an insane amount right now, and that's a big reason why the game is in such a heyday at the moment. Are there more plans for them to make clubs more exciting, especially because really clubs, all we really get is like Mega Pig once a month, right? Yes, they do have plans. Club League wasn't it. If you guys don't know what Club League was, it's not that important. But Mega Pig is better. More people are taking the time to actually interact with Mega Pig than Club League, but they are very aware that clubs just are not where they want them to be yet. And they do have plans to sometime make there more of a reason to do things with your clubs. Now, one thing as well that they're considering though is that there are some players that just want to play by themselves, and they also don't want players to get too burnt out with club events like Club League. But we can expect some sort of future things going on in clubs, whether that's Mega Pig or maybe even it's just like this SpongeBob event where people are getting other special cosmetics and stuff just by playing with their club. So there's a good chance of stuff like that happening in the future that hopefully shouldn't burn people out. Okay, let's talk about the 1 week early release, the value pack of new brawlers. And one thing that brought up, or at least like an issue that some people consider, is the fact that in the past, everyone could unlock the new brawler at the same time as long as they saved up enough boxes to be able to do so. But the value packs, for some people, kind of kills the hype for them, right? In truth, though, according to the Brawl Stars team, the data shows that even more people are engaging with new brawlers than ever before, and it has actually been a really healthy way of monetizing the game without making the game overly pay to win. When it comes down to it, Brawl Stars has to make money in order for them to continue developing the game, but they also don't want to make the game feel pay to win. And people who are willing to spend money to get brawlers early are able to do so now, and people who play for free can still get the new brawler a week later. And this allows them to continue monetizing the game without making the game too pay to win, without adding power 12 or power 13. And honestly, I really like this a lot more than them adding something like power 12 or something like that. And one thing, to be fair with them, and this is a really good point, they didn't have to allow credits to be stored up from one previous season to be able to overflow into the brawler for the next season. That is a deliberate choice that they made so that players that have every single brawler unlocked and who save up all their credits in their brawl pass are able to get the new brawler on release as soon as the next season starts. And that's really cool. That's really awesome. I know that there are a lot of gaming companies out there that absolutely would not do that. They would make everybody fight for it, and there would be good reasons for them to do so, like to prevent server overload and from this new brawler to just completely ruin people's experiences and stuff like that. Instead, they allow people to be able to just unlock it as soon as it's possible, as long as you have every brawler unlocked, which I think is actually pretty cool. And something that I also mentioned is that now more people are unlocking the newest brawlers than ever before upon their release. And players are unlocking brawlers in general faster than ever before, which is something that I 100% agree with when it comes to my experience on my free-to-play account. I'm getting brawlers faster than I can upgrade them, which is a good thing. And also, I would really like more coins. So yeah. One issue that they addressed is that there are some gadgets in the game that just feel a little bit unfair or broken, like Lily's gadget or like Dynamite's gadget. They could not fix Lily's last update, but they do plan on fixing that. And then when it comes to gadgets that just feel unfair, like Dynamite's, they have things in mind to try and make it so that it feels less fair. They don't want the game to just feel unfair for certain circumstances. Okay, one hot topic. Why are so many people getting their accounts hacked in Brawl Stars recently? And oh my gosh, I have noticed this in a big way. So many people reach out to me all the time. Hey, I got my account hacked. Can you help? And unfortunately, I'm not able to help. I'm sorry. The only way that you can actually do that is going through customer support. And they also recognize that their customer support hasn't been the best at helping you recover your account. So they talked about this. Now, but let's first of all talk about why this is happening. And a big reason for this is the fact that the game is growing a ton, which makes it more of a target. More and more scams are happening where people are offering free gems for your personal information, and it is a trap. Anytime somebody is asking for your personal information and they're offering free gems, it's just not going to work out. It's almost 100% of the time it will result in your account being hacked. And since the game has a young audience, these younger players just are not as experienced with online security. Like, I don't know about you guys, I have had issues with online security before, and all it took was me being stupid once for me to be like, oh, I need to be smart about this. And unfortunately, that's kind of what has to happen to people. You have to go through that one stupid experience just one time in order for you to learn. And that's what's happening here. People are making their stupid decisions, and it's just happening. And it really sucks. It really is unfortunate. And they are actively working on account recovery tools to help people regain access to their accounts. And they are also trying their best to make things safer behind the scenes. They couldn't go into specifics because if they do go over the details and the specifics, then that's just going to allow the scammers to be able to counteract those things. But really, when it comes down to it, when people are willingly giving their information out, it just makes harder for Supercell to protect their accounts. And that's just what we're seeing happening right now. And hopefully they're able to improve it in the future so it's not quite as much of an issue. One question got brought up. Are they ever going to upgrade or update Spectator mode? This is one of those things where eventually they would really like to do that. It's not a huge priority at the moment, especially because it's not a feature that a lot of people use, even though the people that use it really love to use it. But someday, eventually, we can probably count on something like that happening. Okay, another hot topic. Are they going to fix the coin shortage? It's funny that this actually gets brought up almost every single time they do their podcast. The problem is that there's actually not a coin shortage. They're actually giving away more coins now than before. And I have done math to show this, and people don't believe me, and that's fine, whatever. I like to think that most of you guys believe me. I have been really good at pointing out all of the issues that Supercell has made with the game, and I'm very vocal when I think they mess up. But there are some people that, they're just gonna choose not to believe it just for whatever reason, and that's just fine. But this chart right here actually shows that players are earning more coins on average now than back before they changed the Brawl Pass back in early 2023, which was when people started complaining about the coin shortage. By the way, back in 2023 when they changed it, that's the very, very beginning of this graph on the very far left when coins were consistently really low. And as you can see, coins have gone up over time. And this is actually true for both players above 30,000 trophies and players below 30,000 trophies. The problem is here though, is that the perception for a lot of players is that there is a coin shortage. And that is an issue. Whether or not it's actually true, that causes problems, especially because players will spend resources as soon as they get the resources to do so. It's like, oh, I just got a fat stack of coins, and then they spend it and they're like, oh, how come I can never have coins? It's because you spend it. There's always stuff to spend it on. And there is also another issue and reason for that. With the addition of hypercharges, that's an additional 5,000 coins that you need to spend on every single brawler that you do not get for free, right? Or that you don't get a free hypercharge for. The problem is that just buffing coins somewhere obvious like the Brawl Pass likely wouldn't actually change perception, and it likely wouldn't change behavior, which, and I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking on their behalf. And the reason why they say that is because they know, because they have buffed coins a lot and it still hasn't changed perception. So instead, they're going to continue adding coins to special events like the SpongeBob event or community reward events like the 100 free star drops, which is shown to actually improve the player experience and improve player behavior and grow the game and bring more new people to the game and bring returning players back to the game. They really don't want progression to feel stale. That's very important to them. They aren't wanting to cheap everybody out of all their coins. They want to reward the players who are playing. And the sad truth of this is that players are just going to complain no matter how much of an increase they get for their free resources. Like, as soon as you give them, oh, hey guys, we're going to give you a free new brawler every single month, and people are going to be like, oh man, give me 2 free brawlers every single month. That's just what that's what people do. It's hard to argue against that. People like to complain. I like to complain. You guys like to complain. And that's just part of being human, right? The point, though, is that this is something they are aware of, though, and they want to make progression feel good, and they will continue to monitor things and make adjustments as necessary. One thing they are discussing, though, is how to make it feel as though players have more agency when you're opening star drops. This doesn't mean that we are absolutely 100% going to see some changes with star drops, but this is something they are actively discussing. Some people want more bling. They want more cosmetics. Some people want more coins. They want more progression. Some people want more credits to unlock their newest brawler, and some people have every single brawler unlocked and they still want credits just to increase their fame. Also, there are some times when you really want a new hypercharge, especially for your favorite brawler, but you end up getting a hypercharge for a brawler you don't even like to play, right? So they are considering some ways to improve agency when it comes to star drops. However, they're also considering the fact that keeping things random means that they are able to give out more resources overall, even if they're not the exact resources that everybody wants. And let's be honest, even if you only get one thing that you want out of a box of 10, it's still fun to see those 9 other things. Good question that got brought up. Are they ever going to remove power points? And I wrote my notes on this a little bit confusingly, so let me do my best to try and explain it. They do not currently have any plans to remove power points. They understand people's frustrations, especially people that have every single brawler at power 11. They don't have enough coins and they are just racking up the power points. So that's issue number 1. Tons of power points and not enough coins, because when they added hypercharges into the game, the demand for coins increased. The thing is, though, is that eventually every single brawler is going to have a hypercharge in the game, and something eventually is going to have to come after hypercharges. Whether that's power 12 or that's another hypercharge or something like that, we don't know. But something eventually is going to have to be added to the game to add more strategic depth for the end game players who have been playing this game for years. The thing is that those players who have been playing the game for years and have every single brawler maxed out and who have an excessive amount of power points are also the players who are going to want that additional depth. So if there's some way that they can take power points and make them meaningful for those players who want to add more strategy into the game to then further deepen the game, that may be some way to like fix these 2 issues together and honestly make the game great for everyone. Hopefully I explained that well. To make things really simple, just an idea is that let's say they want to add mega hypercharges, which are like hypercharges, but they're different. And the way that you purchase them is with power points. Then all of a sudden, people that have excess power points are able to spend those power points, and those same people that want more depth are also able to get more depth. That's just an example. That's not necessarily what they plan on doing, but it's true. And I that makes me feel better about the fact that like there is a point in progression when you just need an insane amount of coins and you have all these power points and they're completely useless to you. So I'm willing to be patient with them, but not like that patient, you know? Like as soon as every brawler has a hypercharge, I'm going to be like, okay, what am I spending my power points on? You said I was gonna be able to spend my power points on something. Where is it, Supercell? I'm mostly joking. I'll be patient up until a point. Will they ever rework some of the bad hypercharges that are in the game? Yes, there are some hypercharges in the game that are not great, and they are aware of that, and they are going to rework some of them. They would like to. The problem is that right now the priority is to get every single brawler a hypercharge first, and then they will be able to go back and rework existing ones. So we'll have to wait for Pearl's hypercharge to be good, or Nani's to be good. Are they ever going to make it so that players can select favorite brawlers for ranked? They do have ideas on how to implement this, and it is on a long list of things that they would like to do eventually. What happened to the Clash Royale pins and the King Frank skin that was going to come into the game? They're waiting to be released in a certain way that isn't ready yet. How vague is that? Well, that's pretty much what they said. Honestly, I have an idea of what it is, and I don't know if it's true or not. This is not official, but I honestly would not be surprised if they did. Like, they just did a collaboration with SpongeBob. I feel like they could very well do like a collaboration with Clash Royale. And that collaboration would be very extensive, and that would mean more Clash Royale skins and maybe a Clash Royale game mode or something like that. I don't know. That's just like my own personal idea. And it just makes so much sense to me that I would honestly kind of be shocked if they didn't do something like that eventually. And we'll see when that happens or what happens from it. Will there ever be an option for us to choose our lobby music? They agree that this is a cool idea, and they would like to, but it's not like a super high priority. And also, I'm kind of surprised they didn't talk about this, but like, adding all the different lobby musics into the game means that you have to download more space, and that's an issue for a lot of devices and stuff like that. I'm sure that there's probably a way that they could allow people to choose which ones to download and allow people to only select the seasonal ones and then other people to opt into additional downloads. I'm sure they could do something like that, but I guess they're just not planning on doing it at the moment because it's not going to be super impactful, even though it would be fun. I mean, I'll be honest, I have every single Brawl Stars music downloaded, and there's probably some random Brawl Stars song playing in the background of this video right now. I mean, obviously I use that, and it's fun to listen to all of them, so I don't know. Okay, big topic, map maker. Why have we not seen any changes to map maker? They would really, really like to come back to map maker, and they do have plans to improve it, but they want to improve it in a big way. They don't want to just do something small for it. They want it to be awesome. And they have higher priorities to deal with first. So something we'll be able to do. It was told to us a long time ago that they were going to do it in a soon-ish update, but they put it on the back burner because their plans got too big and needed more development time. That is all the hot topics and everything that they plan on adding into the future of Brawl Stars, and some things that they do not plan on changing. Like I said, the podcast is really good and worth listening to. There's so many awesome things, and it's really good to kind of like just get to know the developers while you watch them. They're so chill and down to earth, way more so than I think that social media tries to portray them. Definitely check it out. But for now, hope you guys enjoyed this, and subscribe for more Brawl Stars news in the future.